Okay, I wanted to again show you some more things about the respiratory system, respiratory part of the EMR. Yesterday we put in some respiratory care onto baby boy respiratory, but when I went to look for baby boy respiratory, I couldn't find him up here. And the reason why I couldn't find him was because I didn't submit a bill. And as you can see, baby boy respiratory is down here. So, again, this is something that you should know something about. I'm going to open up baby boy respiratory. He is the correct patient. And you can see that in my admit part here, I did not submit a bill. Okay, so let's go and submit a bill so we can get him up onto the screen here. Realize that you can see that the files are open here. And the files are open because it's now only the 29th. They close after, I believe, 48 hours. So let's go and fill out a super bill for a child that we just saw yesterday. And I went into this, the 28th, into the master of that day. I'm going to click on the TTN. Okay, and I'm not going to go through the delivery room at this point. I'm just going to go through what this baby was, and he was again initially critical day, and I can only use that again if I put in that statement. And let me make sure that I did put in that statement, the critical statement. I did, high probability of life-threatening. So it's okay to use that. Now I have to get back to the ESB. I can go two ways. I can either go back to the master and open it up down here, or I can go over here and then go to the neonatal ESB that way. It's just another way you can do it. And push OK. And I want to say yes. So the way I populated this was I clicked on here, the TTN went there. I'll show you that again. Click on here, and the TTN goes there. Sometimes you have several diagnoses in here. If you click them too fast, what will happen is that it'll be TTN, TTN, TTN. Okay, so be careful not to click things too fast, because then it shows you you'll get repeats. Okay, so this baby I'm putting as critical, and I did intubate the child, and I did do the nasal CPAP for the first day, so I'll put that there. The intubation isn't in there because I didn't do the note, the procedure note. But if I had done a procedure note, the intubation would be intubation. I don't see it just right here, but I see the ventilator, and that's the management the first day. That's what I want. I want to get rid of that one. And I'm looking for the intubation. Let's see it. All right, it should be here. And it's not. So why don't I do this? Why don't we go back and we will put into this. It was in this part here, but you know what? I'll just do it in here, and I'll show you how to do it. And then it'll pop up where I want it to pop up. Let's go and put in that procedure. So I add the procedure, and the procedure is intubation. It was done on the 28th, and I just click through here. I want to do this, I want to do this. I talked to them before and after. I use the 3.5. I shortened it to, let's say, 12, 13 centimeters. And I didn't use any of the stuff. Timeout was performed. We did it at such and such an hour. Okay. Intubation was established. The lip, he was what, like 3 kilos, so it's 6 plus 3, 9.5. Let's say 9.5 centimeters at the lip. All right, and no complications. We did a chest x-ray. The tube was, let's say it's 1 centimeter above, 1 cm above. And this is not the real world, folks. And the pain management was fair. Okay, now I click that, I save and I close it, and when I go to my ESB, yes, I should have intubation listed here, and I'm looking for it, and I'm not seeing it. Yeah, here it is. I guess it was at the way bottom, and I'm going to still use the TTN, so I just click in here and that'll bring in that TTN. Everything that has a box that I'm using has to have one of these diagnoses associated with it. Now I want to submit it to the Superbill. Okay, submitting it. And if we go back to the census, you will then see that baby boy respiratory now is at the bottom. Okay, and that's what happens whenever you do a ESB for a baby that's admitted, or an ESB for the day on these kids. The child will then go from wherever he was up here to the bottom. Okay, now I'm still in baby respiratory, and now let's say I wanted to do a new day, which is today. Okay, and I'm going on to my master. I'm going to put it as a subsequent day, and I'm going to show you how things appear in the respiratory section. Okay, so let's go to problems. Let's go to a respiratory distress. Now, as you see, I did not fill out any of the vital signs. So if you don't fill out the vital signs, it's okay. It's not great. You will do that at some point, but things won't show up here. So why don't I go back and I'll fill in the vital signs. All right, let's go back here to NICU master. I'll fill in my vitals. Oh, vital signs. Now I'm going to add new. Realize that there's never two admission vitals. There's only one admission vitals. So we're going to add a new one. I right-clicked there, and I'm going to put my vent support as we're on a ventilator at this time. I'm not going to fill in all this stuff here. Okay, so I should put in the weight, because that's, if I recall, it was 3,400. Because I don't want to have zero in my thing there. Zero weight. Alrighty, let's go to our problems. Let's go to respiratory. Now you will see that the ventilator now is clicked. But you will also see that FiO2 is not marked in. And that's because on subsequent days you don't have that choice in the vital signs. So let's do our FiO2 here. He's now on 40%. Okay, and I had my IMV, and my rate, I'm going to say, is 10, because I was able to wean this baby very nicely. My PEEP is 5, and my PIP, let's say, is 16. And what day did I start this? I started it on the 28th, so I look over here. What is it? It was started on the 28th, and I'm saving it. I don't have to put it into here because the mode here, ventilator, is already here and it's opened, which means that there's no stop date. Now, let's say I decided later on during the day that, and I haven't written my note yet, that I'm going to change the mode. If I change the ventilator settings, I'm not going to redo this here. But now I'm changing the mode back to CPAP. Okay, so I'm going to click CPAP and put nasal 5. And what day did I start it? I started it today. So that's the 29th. And I save this. Now I'm on CPAP nasal, but I have been already on the ventilator during the daytime. I have to stop the ventilator. Okay, even though I put it in today, I have to stop it. And the stop date is going to be the 29th. Okay, so if during the daytime, during that 24 hours, you are on two different types of therapy, there should be two different types of therapy here, and you have to stop it in both grids. So I stopped it here, but you would think that it would go over to the history, but it doesn't. So you really do. I'm sorry, but you got to go over here and stop it here. And you close this. So now it's stopped on both sides. By history, he's on nothing now. But I have to remember, I just put him on CPAP. And it's a new CPAP. It was started on the 29th. Remember, the CPAP here was stopped on the 28th. So I click that and I add it. Okay? There should be, in every day that a baby's on respiratory therapy, there should be at least one in each side that has no stop date. Okay? If you're coming off everything, you will have one here, God knows how many over here, but there will be one open here, and you stop them in both sides. Okay, so let's say the baby was on CPAP at 3 o'clock in the morning and came off. You came in at 9 o'clock in the morning, baby's off CPAP. Well, guess what? He was on CPAP that 24 hours. You have to put it in over here, okay? That the baby was on it, because then the billing is different, believe it or not. If you're on CPAP, you are a global baby. If you're not on CPAP and on nothing, you might be a global from something else, but you're not global from respiratory. So here, I want you all to notice that the stop date is open because we haven't stopped it yet, and in the history, only one is open. Okay, you can't have more than one open in the history because at any given point in time, there's only one type of therapy that's being given. The same goes over here. Now tomorrow, this will all be blank, just like it was today when I started. Okay, and then I would have to again put in the respiratory care that I'm giving the baby. Now let's see what this does with our note. Okay, because that's really you documented it, but let's see what it does for the note. Okay, again, I haven't written much into this note except the vital signs and the respiratory part, and the ET intubation. It also says that it's still going, and guess what? I stopped it. So how do I fix that? All right, these are the things that I look for. Um, I have a procedure that's ongoing, and now I have to stop it. See the procedure here? It was done on the 28th, but the procedure in place is still there. And when did I stop it? I stopped it today, the 29th. So I save that and close it. Now let's go back to the master. We'll go back to documents. We go to subsequent day. It's going to say that it's already open, but I just changed it. So yes, I do want to close the previous document, and I want the new document to be the old document to be overwritten. Okay. And what does it say here? It doesn't have the intubation anymore. Okay, because he's no longer intubated. All right. So what goes into our respiratory support? Well, remember, the baby was on CPAP, was on the ventilator at some point during the day, and it's telling me that it was and it's telling me that I stopped it. And then I started CPAP nasal, and I haven't stopped it. All right. Now, what does it do for your ESB? Let's go back to the master. Super bill. Whenever you're on CPAP, whenever you're on a ventilator, the program is going to give you a critical. All right. Now, granted, on a ventilator you are critical. On CPAP you may or may not be critical, and it all depends upon um, what you're willing to put into your note. If you're willing to put into your note that critical statement, and you really feel that if you stop that therapy, this baby is going to crash, then you can bill critical. And I bet you have to put that in the statement. I have some docs who have the baby on nasal cannula, and is it going at high flow? Fine, okay, but they're planning to take it off and see how the baby does. Now, it's kind of hard to justify a critical in that case because you're taking the baby off, and what the critical statement says is if you're not giving this therapy, whether some sort of respiratory therapy, um, that the baby will crash. And obviously, you're thinking the baby's okay to come off the CPAP. So that's a little tricky. Sometimes I'll look at it and say yes, and sometimes I'll say no. Give me some more information, and that's when I write to you and ask for a little bit more information. So this has been a subsequent day for a baby who has required a change in his respiratory management. And I just want to go back into the respiratory summary here. What did we do? We took him off his ventilator, so we stopped it in both sides. Remember yesterday we had stopped the CPAP, okay, we intubated him, and we started CPAP again, and it's a new CPAP because it has a new start date. And so you have it over here in both places. And if, let's say, later on in the day you decide to stop both of them and put him on nothing, you can go back in and change it and just stop it and stop it in both sides. Okay? But remember that whenever any day that you're on respiratory therapy, something has to be in this box here. Okay? That something can be stopped because you're stopping it that day, but it has to be in there. If you're stopping it that day, you have to stop it over here. If you're starting it that day, you start it here with the save date, and then you add it. See the add? You add it over here. This is the hard part about the respiratory section in that you have many different clicks that you have to do, um, and that's just the nature of the beast. I hope this has been helpful, and we'll say goodbye to this